the picturesque town of Celebration, Florida, the TODT family was a beacon of vibrancy and community spirit. Anthony TODT, a respected physical therapist, his wife Megan, a former yoga instructor, and their charming children seemed to embody the idyllic life that many in the quaint town aspired to. They had moved from Connecticut, carrying with them a reputation for generosity and community engagement. Yet, beneath this polished veneer, dark currents were swirling, financial strains and emotional undercurrents that were poised to undermine their perfect world. As the year 2019 waned, a shadow loomed over the TODT family, growing ever darker and more sinister. Federal investigators, sharp and relentless, were piecing together a troubling puzzle of healthcare fraud centered around Anthony's practice back in Connecticut. This impending storm threatened not just to topple his professional life but to expose a chilling underbelly of his personal life that could unravel everything he had built. With each passing day, as the investigators drew closer, the tension within the TODT household grew palpable. Unseen by their cheerful neighbors and friends, the family's bright smiles began to mask a growing desperation. Secrets that were meant to be buried threatened to surface, setting the stage for a catastrophic unraveling that would shock the community to its core. In this seemingly perfect setting, where every lawn was manicured and every street corner picturesque, the contrast between the public facade and the private turmoil was stark. The darker the secrets, the deeper the fall, and the TODT family was perched precariously at the edge of an abyss, their true story hidden behind closed doors, waiting to erupt into the open with potentially devastating consequences. The first signs of trouble began when Anthony's physical therapy practice came under scrutiny for billing discrepancies. It emerged that Anthony had been billing insurance companies for appointments that never occurred, a fraudulent activity that stretched back years. This financial deceit was compounded by the family's relocation to Florida, which seemed motivated by a desire to escape the looming consequences of his actions in Connecticut. As December approached, the financial pressure was palpable. The family's new home in Celebration was under threat of eviction due to unpaid rent, adding to an increasingly unstable situation. Unbeknownst to even his closest neighbors, Anthony's mental state was deteriorating, his mind consumed by an apocalyptic obsession that promised a catastrophic end to the world. Anthony's obsession with the apocalypse grew. He and Megan watched countless videos and joined online groups discussing the end of days, which began to dominate their conversations and warp their perceptions of reality. According to Anthony's later confessions, this obsession led to the formulation of a deadly pact. The family would leave the world together, escaping the perceived horrors of the apocalypse. By late December, the plan had taken a ghastly form. Anthony began administering large doses of Benadryl to his family, preparing to carry out a series of actions that would end in tragedy. On January 13, 2020, FBI agents and local deputies arrived at the TODT residence to serve Anthony a warrant related to his healthcare fraud charges. What they discovered inside the home was beyond comprehension. The bodies of Megan, Alec, Tyler, Zoe, and the family dog Breezy were found decomposed, suggesting they had been deceased for weeks. Each was wrapped in blankets, with crucifixes placed in their hands, an eerie testament to Anthony's distorted beliefs. The community of Celebration was left reeling as the news broke. A family that had been an integral part of their lives was gone in the most horrific manner imaginable. The trial of Anthony TODT was a media sensation, drawing attention from across the nation. In court, Anthony's narrative continued to shift. Initially claiming a mutual decision to die with his family to escape the apocalypse, he later changed his story multiple times, at one point even attempting to blame Megan for the murders. Ultimately, Anthony TODT was convicted on multiple counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case left a lasting impact on Celebration and raised uncomfortable questions about the facades people maintain and the hidden struggles they face. This tragic story is a sobering reminder of how deeply personal turmoil can manifest into catastrophic actions that not only destroy individual lives but also those of entire families and communities. As the trial unfolded, the depth of Anthony TODT's deceit became glaringly apparent, not just to the shocked public but also to those who thought they knew him best. The financial deceptions were just the tip of the iceberg. The court proceedings revealed that Anthony's duplicity permeated every aspect of his life, from his business dealings to his personal relationships. Testimonies from former colleagues and friends painted a picture of a man who was once trusted and respected in his community. However, behind this facade was a man struggling with immense debt and a crumbling sense of reality. The contrast between the Anthony TODT in public and the man discussed in court was jarring, leaving many to question how well they truly knew him. The town of Celebration, conceived as a utopia by its founders, was thrust into a state of mourning and disbelief. Vigils were held, and community members gathered to honor the lives of Megan, Alec, Tyler, and Zoe. The loss was palpable, with neighbors expressing guilt and sorrow for not having seen the signs of the family's distress. Local churches and community centers opened their doors to offer support and counseling services, recognizing the deep trauma the event had inflicted on the tight-knit community. The tragedy sparked conversations about mental health, the pressures of maintaining a facade, and the importance of community vigilance. In the legal aftermath, as Anthony TODT was sentenced to life without parole, the focus shifted to the broader implications of the case. The healthcare fraud that initially brought FBI agents to his door was discussed extensively, highlighting systemic issues within medical billing practices and the need for stricter oversight. The case also prompted a re-evaluation of how mental health issues are addressed in the legal system. Experts debated the intersection of psychological distress and criminal responsibility, arguing for comprehensive mental health assessments in criminal proceedings. Forensic psychologists took an interest in the case, aiming to understand the mindset of Anthony TODT during the crimes. They discussed the potential impact of his financial stresses, his apocalyptic obsessions, and his relationship dynamics. The consensus was unsettling. While financial and emotional pressures can exacerbate underlying issues, they rarely lead to such extreme actions without deeper psychological disturbances. The discussions extended into academic circles, with the TODT case becoming a case study in criminology and psychology classes, used to educate students on the warning signs of mental health crises and the potential for escalation. The final chapter in the story of the TODT family does not offer closure so much as it offers lessons. For those who lived through the ordeal, the legacy of the tragedy is a reminder of the fragility of the human psyche and the destructive potential of secrecy and fear. As the town of Celebration slowly began to heal, the focus was on fostering a community where openness and mental health support are prioritized. The memory of the TODT family lives on, not just in the sorrow of their passing but in the communal commitment to preventing such a tragedy from ever occurring again. What aspects of Anthony's background or personality do you think played a crucial role in the events that unfolded? Did your perception of him change throughout the story? How can a community effectively support recovery and healing after a tragedy? What responsibilities do neighbors and friends have in noticing and addressing the struggles of those around them? Do you feel the legal system managed to balance justice with an understanding of mental health issues effectively? What improvements would you suggest? Which themes in the story struck a chord with you, and why? Can you see parallels in your own community or personal experiences? What were the most compelling or disturbing parts of the story for you? Did the narrative prompt you to reconsider your views on family and community dynamics?